Hi, and welcome back to Church of Entropy live streams. Joined today by Supra Librix, who'll be talking about his new invention. And I'm looking forward to hearing about that. I will put because you've got your video on, I'll just maximize your screen so the audience can see you full time there. I got you with your background there of your black swan. So Supra's been on our show several times. For the audience who are fans of Doooovid, I just want to apologize and say that he's not going to be joining us for Week in Review this week because he has a prior commitment. And I also have some upcoming commitments, so there may be some changes to the schedule to the Week in Review over the next 2 weeks to be confirmed at a later date. So that's an update, and we'll hand the floor over to you, Supra, aka Dr. Dan, to talk about your new idea. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, what I got is, let me make sure you see this. Do you see the super tool? I don't
I'll
know what
full
I'm,
screen it in a second once I have the comments looking a little bit more sane. But yeah, the audience will be able to see it in like 30 seconds. So
okay.
just start with the basic overview. It's usually good to give an overview, right? Like you don't just want to jump into a theory. A big
Okay.
mistake people make are that they they assume people are more familiar with their theory than they really are. And I think I make this mistake too. And it can work sometimes or trick people into learning, but it is good to, and I'm trying to do this too, sort of give an introduction of what it is that you're going to be talking about. It's obviously going to be your theory, but just like what aspect of it, what
Right.
in particular are we looking at today? So for those of you who've seen the other streams that Super's been on, he's talked about his model of mapping people's feelings using his, I'm not sure what you're calling it now, but it's basically a tool that a company could theoretically use to keep track of how people were feeling in
Yeah,
general
that's yeah.
in
In
order
general, that's
to avoid the old problems with getting sued, right? So why don't you
right.
dig us
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
bit? It's full screen now. I'm going to try it on a different one, so it's maybe a bit better. So just give me a minute, but it'll be full screen.
Okay.
So go ahead and start explaining to
I'm all set. I'm
people.
all set to go.
Yeah,
Okay,
go
okay,
ahead.
okay. All right. So this is the latest tool. We'll call this one the Super tool, and this one has basically what it is. It's a lineup of everything in reality. Now you have it all lined up in one direction. So maybe this could be seen as like a. So this would be the moral compass, and basically you want everything to be going in one direction here. Maybe, it's up to you. I'm just saying this provides a direction for you have your mind. So what, given a preference, would you rather be what state of mind? Angry, upset, calm, blue, whatever. But we assume happiness. That's what most philosophies and religions have in common, is that they describe a good life.
I really
What is a
don't think
good
they
life?
do that though. I think happiness is usually just something that's sort of said in passing and sort of
Okay, but
unspecific,
they
right?
define what
I
what
don't really think
what
philosophers
quality is.
said that they're seeking answers to happiness.
Okay, actually, yeah, that's a good distinction. But I should say, what is the point of philosophy? To me, the word philosophy is indistinguishable from sophistry. It's just a way to think about something, a way to say things.
Well, theoretically, philosophy is a process of inquiry. Have you read any Pythagoras?
Not intentionally. I bet I've run across some of this stuff,
Right.
but
So that's sort of more the way it's supposed to be used. Like
okay,
philosophy without an active mathematical scientific component is, like you say, sophistry.
okay. So I guess what I've always pitched this as is the integration of physics and philosophy. So philosophy,
Well,
whatever your
that seems a
philosophy,
bit strange because that's kind of what my system is. So why doesn't
I
your system look
know that's what I'm
exactly like
saying.
my system?
I told you we were meant to be together, Jan. Did you think it
Yeah,
was
but
just a
that's, I mean,
coincidence?
anybody can make that claim, right? It's not,
Okay. So
it's just words, right? Like Howie said the same thing. Howie said he's going to come up with a unified field model. It's like saying something and actually doing it. You do
okay,
realize
here it
those
is
are
right here.
different things, right?
I, well, yeah, I guess, but in practice, see these are unified field theory, field mod. Which one is it? Uh, Either way, those are inconsequential to me because I'm on the pragmatic side of, well, how do you just make it easy?
So
So
you made up a
here's
theory, but you don't know anything about the theory because it's impractical. You just have the practical applications of a theory you don't understand. So you can understand why someone like me would have a very hard time taking someone like you seriously.
no, I get it, but that's the part that's entertaining to me. Okay,
It's
so
not so
assume
entertaining to me when you're shit posting and saying that I'm somehow uncool for not liking your theory. It's like, dude,
yeah,
I'm
can
fucking
you?
cool. If
You
you're
are,
going
yeah.
against me, you're the uncool one. I hate to break it to you.
Okay, so I want you to map out here on here how this makes you feel, Jen. I
It
put
makes me
Jen
feel
here.
annoyed that people who have no knowledge of anything deeper think that they can do practical applications on said deeper knowledge and effectively delegate their own responsibility to a computer. And also, I think a big error you're making is you're trying to delegate upwards. You're trying to say, well, do this more complex task, but I
Wait a
can't
minute.
do it, but you should do it.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no, no, no.
didn't you pay Howie $700 to write some sort of theory or something? Which, by the way, is showing just terrible judgment. Howie's a total sketchbag.
Well, he's done some cool stuff for me so far. So, as far as I'm concerned,
No, he
it's all right.
hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Well, he's done some things for me that I
He's
consider
said
okay.
words that
Yeah,
sounded nice, but has he
yeah.
actually produced anything?
A couple things.
No, he hasn't.
Well,
Because his
he
money is
he
still
gets
stuck
started.
on his PayPal. He's not lifting a finger until he gets that money. And even if he does, I highly doubt he's going to do anything worth anything. But please continue.
Okay. Well, we'll see about that. You're right. You know, you never know with people. So, but he's a pretty cool guy. Kind of, he's got his quirks, just like everyone. But okay. Anyway, let me see how you could. Let me just forget everything you know about me. What if I came up to you and I said, okay, here's an alignment for mapping out any philosophy. What you do with your mind, and it's descriptive, not prescriptive. You just show in your philosophy what it looks like. So here's a tool that says, what do you do with your money? So money is 0 here in the middle. Debt would be on the left. Profit would be on the right. State of mind neutral is in the middle. Now, this is the entropic cost. So just pure physics, how much energy is used to do X, Y, or Z. So you can take a sort of a snapshot in time of a mental state, roughly, just positive or negative or neutral. Specifics, those are your own words, but the feeling invoked or experienced, that's in color. So that's the only subjective part, and only you know that answer. You pick that. Money, you can count that. Pennies right down to the penny there if you want. So money, this is an objective slider here. And energy used, that's an objective slider here. That's all. And that's anything, any movement or anything through space-time can be described in these 3 bars like this. Does that make sense to you like that?
Well, maybe they could be described, but does the description actually give us any relevant information?
Anything valuable? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's a good question.
So
So,
wait, just to start off, you're saying your state of mind is on a continuum between happy and sad. I'd say that that is a problem in itself.
well, you're using words happy and sad. When I have red, that just means any negative word that you can possibly think of that you feel makes you feel negative. Whatever, shame, regret, remorse. Ouch, my foot hurts because I stepped on a nail. All those. That's just a negative state of mind. That's all. It doesn't. Like I said, you pick the word. Whatever word you use. Well, show me what color of word you mean by that. Oh, I'm pleasantly surprised. Maybe that's
I
this.
just think like isn't everything pretty I mean, who's happy?
Right. Well, that's
I
personal.
don't
As I was
think
saying, I
anybody really is. So it's like you're asking people if they're happy, but no one is, and it's just like, hmm.
no, it's asking for a state of mind. You're right.
I just think you need to define your boundary conditions, right? So it's basically subjective. So is it true that everybody experiences the same range of emotions? No. Is it true that individual reported emotions are actually indicative of what's best for that person? Only if you can reverse engineer what it is that they're telling you accurately. So it always
Well,
comes down to your own ability to interpret the data, which is what I'm telling you that you don't think you need to know how to interpret the data. You're thinking, well, the computer will just interpret it for me. No, it won't.
no, you don't need a computer
Computers
for
can only
this.
do one thing. Computers can do predefined problems. Computers cannot define problems. So, defining problems is a superior form of intelligence than just cranking out an answer that's very close and very fast to a linear approximation of predefined things. You understand that, right?
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess I get you saying, but what if you gave the computer a new tool? What the computer didn't have before? I don't know.
It would still be
You're
down to the programmer to like program the thing. So Toby Longbottom is saying that I'm cool but not happy. I think I probably enjoy a better standard of consciousness, a better quality of consciousness than the vast majority of people. I can have a stern manner, but that's actually the healthy way to communicate, in my view, because otherwise you're just repressing things, and then they come out bad later. So it's just sort of good to have that balance
yeah.
for
Okay.
communication.
Okay.
Um,
Well, you brought up a point here that I think is important because you said everybody has a different experience, and given one
what I'm saying is
experience.
most people aren't going through life thinking, "Oh, gee, I'm so happy," and they're certainly not made happy by materialism in a long-term basis.
Right, agreed. But you can ask them. You do this all the time. Hey, how you doing? Right? Do you really want to know, or do you want to have a pleasant conversation? So whatever their state of mind is, they'll tell you a conversation in whatever color they choose to present themselves. Right? You agree with that?
Right, so you're getting an answer that's really answering the question of how do you want others to perceive you.
Right, exactly, right. So what you say to someone, that's what you want other
Obviously,
people.
everyone wants others to perceive them as good, and everybody wants to have the edge on information about other people. It's a
Right,
universal thing.
yeah.
It's like saying everybody wants more money. Well, yeah, sure.
Okay, good. So those are two of the sliders. Everybody wants to present this, and everybody wants to present this. Okay. Now all that's left is how much energy do you use in order to present that, right? Do you use a lot of energy? Do you drive a fast car? Do you have a yacht that burns 1,000 gallons a minute to going across the ocean? Well, that's very entropic of you. Or do you live in a grass hut in the jungle? There, done. That's what we want, Jen. How much money do you need? How much energy
Yeah,
does it
you
cost
wanna
in
force a
physical
question that
terms?
doesn't have materialist answers into the domain of materialism. Do you have any idea how many
Well,
people wanna do this exact same thing? Everybody wants to take the immaterial, transcendent, internal wisdom and translate it into something material so they can say, "Hey, guess what? I actually do know something. It's not just me, self, deceiving or weaving some web of, self-hypnosis. It's actually real knowledge." Everybody wants to do that. That's like the holy grail.
yeah. Well, I got it.
No,
You
you
just don't
don't.
believe it yet.
You do not have anything particularly
Okay.
important or insightful. You would have
Okay.
to be able to, this is how you could wow me. You take
Okay, let's
my
hear
theory, you take my physics theory,
it. First thing, do
you
what
map
I
it
say.
out in this system, and then you show me how your system transcends my system, and then
No,
I'll
no,
be like,
no.
"Cool, I got an
That
additional layer of information, great." And then it would be
okay.
like, "Maybe."
This isn't the layers. This is the layer, the top layer of whatever you got underneath.
Yeah, yeah,
So
everybody just wants to insert themselves on the foundational layer of everyone else's,
no, no,
axiomatic
no, no,
processing.
no,
I get
no,
that.
no. You're the foundation. I'm just the top coat.
Uh,
All I am is a
you
presentation.
don't even know enough about my theory to endorse it. You're saying, "I
N-
agree with your theory because I've made these meta proxy judgments, and,
Right.
I don't need to investigate it," but it's like, what the hell am I supposed to think about that?
Well, Jen, how long would it take someone to really understand everything that's in your mind, right? It'd take a lifetime. Take as long as you're alive, and they have
Okay,
to be
so
someone really
until they
smart.
get to a point where they feel like they understand it, maybe they shouldn't be endorsing it because what if I'm wrong? Like, you realize that the people who are on the way to understanding it haven't endorsed it necessarily, they just haven't denied it.
Right. Okay. Well, you see, this is where we talked about this, where the things that we disagree on, they're immaterial to me as
I
far as
never agreed that the things we disagree on are immaterial.
no, 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 no. The things that we agree on, that we don't agree on, are things, whatever. Pick a topic. They
I
they
don't
don't.
agree that the things that we don't agree on are immaterial because I base
No, no, no,
my
no, no,
trust
no,
of other
no, no,
people
no,
on
no. I don't
whether
mean that.
they share my principles.
Yes. No, no, that's not what I meant. What I meant was any difference of opinion we have of things. It isn't something I want to argue about because it's something I can't. Like I said, I don't know the depth of your theory because it would take me years to figure it out, and I don't need to know the depth of it to understand that we differ on so little that hey,
But
you've got the
it's
math.
not that you know literally nothing about it though. That's what it's sort of the shocking thing.
No,
Like,
well,
you haven't
not
even
literally.
perused it. How
I
can you
think.
be so sure that it's right if you haven't even perused it and you've got a mountain of people online saying, "Jen's crazy." Are
Well,
you
I get them out.
assuming because are you using the proxy judgment that because so many people are triggered, that therefore I must be right? And that it doesn't
Well,
matter
I'm
anyway,
I'm
really, because no one's gonna be able to trump me anyway, it doesn't I don't need to know everything to be smarter than everybody else is my point.
r- right. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly the stack. What I see this doing, this tool is an abbreviation to get to a reasoning like yours, which
No
is
shortcuts to divinity. Like, exactly,
yes,
you got to understand the source of like, you're coming across this I know you're not intentionally being, disrespectful here, but it's very disrespectful to make such claims.
well, I know, but I've got the tool right up in front of you, and if you just think of it this way, okay, because I want to know where we differ, because you keep saying no, it's not that, but then there's nothing that you can say to contest it. Because I've got
It's not
the
my job to
physical.
disprove your theory. That's Claire Cottier logic.
Well, no,
Howie
no, but
Hughes wants to come on. Are you okay with that?
sure.
Yeah. Can you put your email in the chat, Howie, so I can send you the link? Moreover, it's not my job to disprove your unsubstantiated
No, no,
theory.
no. I just want to know where we differ because right here I have whatever's in your head and how you feel about it. This is your money. That's just an objective measure. There's nothing to argue about there. And then how much energy is used. There's nothing to argue about there. This is just a sliding scale of how much energy is used, how much money is used, and then just what do you think about that? And don't give me the words. Just demonstrate whatever word you got. Oh, happy, sad, misanthropic, whatever. I don't care the word. Tell me how it makes you feel and your emotional state from best to worst, however you define best and however you define worst. I don't care what words you use. Just put it on the chart. Okay? That's everything. Physical, financial, psychological, and every single one. If you push towards this, meaning more efficient, more profit, and a better state of mind, better by however you define better. I don't care how you say better, whatever words you use. What state of mind is the most preferable? Well, that's it. This is whatever word you use, put it there. I don't care what you use. If you're religious, it's one thing. If you're a Buddhist, it's something else. If you're a cokehead, it's something else. That's it.
Mhm. I just think
So,
you're yeah, there's like a strategy, there's the what you call the contrarian strategy.
what? I'm not familiar.
Well, just
It
being
seems.
contrarian. So people,
Oh,
are all
if
like
someone
essentially
will.
made happy by the same things, but some people, because they're pieces of shit, just want to be contrarian and bitch about everything.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, sure. I see. Yeah. I mean, but that's the case. You always got somebody like that. So that person will who is
That's
like
literally the
this.
majority of people, though, due to the
Well, I don't know if
horrible
that's
influence
true.
in
If
society
everybody's
and culture.
Jen, if everybody's contrary to you, you're it, right? You're the one that's contrarian,
I'm not being I have
right?
to be contrarian sometimes. I have to go against the orthodoxy sometimes because the orthodoxy is wrong, but that's not the same thing as a contrarian strategy because as people who know me know that I'm not really big on contrarianism for going against something just for the sake of going against it because it's the mainstream is asinine. I find it disgusting. To do that is like an attention seeking thing, but because it does get attention and resources, that it's a very common strategy.
Yeah, valuable. It's valuable.
So how does your thing deal with that?
Well, if they desire to be contrarian, then others will give you feedback on that. If you get 10 people in a room and there's one guy that just likes to fight, well, you get 9 people saying, I don't like his behavior. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Kick him out or keep being contrarian, right? I mean, that's what you do if you're in a party and there's just one guy that's a jerk. Eventually, if he's a big enough jerk, they'll kick him out. Cops will come. Whatever. That's the end of the jerk.
Right, but if the
Or
dominant
everyone puts
culture
up
is
with it,
contrarian, like you have this critical theory thing that makes the dominant culture contrarian. Everybody's just like criticizing everything basically.
right?
And
Yeah.
there's two strategies of creating and criticizing and how do you reconcile those two strategies?
Well, sometimes you can't. I mean, that's why you got riots in the street, right? I mean, at some point, there is no reconciliation. Now, how do you want to live with it? Well, do you want to sit and argue all day? Do you want to fight about it? Do you want to run away? Do you want to move to another country? Right? I mean, that's what it comes down to in real terms, not just talking. It's rhetoric or violence ultimately, or walk away.
Well, I think it's a matter of a spiritual transformation. People need to change their mind, stop being such arrogant cackheads
Y-
who
Okay,
are
hey, that
quietly
gets right
trying
to
to
my
make
point.
themselves into some sort of dictator figure and just be submissive to the knowledge and stop trying to think that you can take a shortcut to knowledge.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But how much? Where's the limit? If there's not a shortcut, how long is the journey? That's what I
The
see as
journey
the
depends on
main
your own
problem.
personal karma, but if you go on the journey, your karma will improve. So you'll get effects like you'll get what is it? Good results probably soon You won't get enlightenment until you're ready to get enlightenment. It takes a while to get enlightenment, but do you really want enlightenment?
That's a good question.
That's the
Yeah,
thing. Most
good
people aren't
question.
ready to make the sacrifices required to get enlightenment, but you can get a lot of benefits by using the applied science. But you're not going to get enlightenment. And now a lot of people want to come in and be like, yeah, I have enlightened knowledge. And it's like, okay, prove it. It's like, well, you're not going to be able to. Like, even enlightened masters have tried to answer these questions and failed. So if they failed, what are the chances someone not enlightened can do it?
Well, what I can do is draw a picture of enlightenment and have you
No, you
aim for
can't.
that.
No, you
Sure.
cannot. You
Okay.
are
Well,
not.
what?
You are not enlightened. You can say absolutely zero things about enlightenment.
Well, no, I can ask you though. Assuming you're enlightened, what? How do you place that state of mind on the chart? Is it really good or is it
That's what
really
I'm
bad?
saying. There's like it doesn't map to this chart.
Well, it means really good. Is that the highest, supposedly the highest state of consciousness, right? Is that a good way to put it, or what words would you use?
Well, there's multiple enlightened states.
Okay, which is the most preferable?
Uh, there have been arguments historically, traditionally, about which is preferable.
Okay, well, this is where
I
I don't
don't
want to.
really know that there is. Um,
Is any state of mind
here's an
preferable to another?
argument. Okay, here I'm going to throw in an
Okay,
argument here for you.
okay, yep, ready.
Not every human has the same biology.
Yeah,
There's
true.
a
That you throw that in.
variation, which
That's on top of the
suggests to me,
psychology.
this suggests to me that enlightenment would be sensed differently
Yeah, that
based
makes
on
sense to
that.
me too.
Now, I have no clue how differently,
Right.
but all I can do is cite the historical precedent. And then for like a full on analysis of all the different states of enlightenment, it's better to talk to someone than me because it's not something I've really gone into in any great detail. But yeah, there's definitely more than one. There's like a more warmer one and a more cooler one, I guess. It's slightly
Hmm.
harder to achieve. So, but basically, the point is that anybody who's not enlightened is basically having a pretty crappy quality of life because they're stuck on what feels like when you become enlightened, you understand why it's like a merry-go-round or like a roller coaster or something, because enlightenment is like a stillness that you don't enjoy when you're not enlightened. So no matter how good your sensory experiences could be, they're never going to be that great because they're set amidst a backdrop of all this insecurity and sort of holes and discontinuities and things like that. So
Okay. So, oh,
you
okay. So
can't
this is
really have any concept of what it's like to be enlightened when you're not enlightened.
okay. But you said something that it's if you aren't enlightened, it's worse than being enlightened. So if we go, this is not enlightened. Let me just show you how this works because it's a great point, and I don't mean to step on people's philosophical toes too much, and especially not spiritual ones because that's to me that's different. Philosophy to me is just a sport of words, but religion, those are important to people in their just their mental well-being and health. There's no reason to disparage it at all. However, I don't mean like I said, I'm very respectful of that. Not, but you said not enlightened.
And I just wanted to get to this point of like, if you want to be enlightened, you have to get initiation from someone. And most people are too arrogant to get initiation, slash, there's no one really around to do it because why would they? Because everybody's such a bastard. So there's really a hard fork between enlightened and non enlightened because once you get initiated, there's still a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done before you can get enlightened. So an initiate will have a better state of consciousness. They're not enlightened, but they'll be initiated. So they'll be in this other, like, I don't know, quartile or whatever you want to call it of consciousness where baseline consciousness is just better because it's been calibrated. That's what initiation is a quantum calibration of your mind to get it more in line with how it would be thinking if it were enlightened.
Well, that's
So it looks like Howie's on the screen. Like, I get it. I've seen people try to do this stuff before. Everybody
okay.
wants to do blah, 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 holy grail. It won't work.
Okay,
If
but tell
enlightened people have tried it and failed, what's the chance a non-enlightened person is going to achieve it? Just accept that it's not a problem you have the tools to solve at this time, though
no.
it's fun to try, but you have to
Okay,
take
wait a
on an
second.
attitude of learning. Otherwise,
You
you're just going to keep going in
Wait,
circles.
which
you
enlightened
just have
people
to tell
tried
me,
this?
is this true right here? This is it. Is this statement true right here? Not enlightened is less than enlightened, is less
It's
desirable.
a person who's enlightened has superior karma, but that doesn't imply that all unenlightened people should immediately drop everything they're doing
No, but it's
and
preferable to be
seek a
enlightened
path
than
of
not
enlightenment.
enlightened. If you have a if
Enlightenment is the right choice when you're ready for it. Now, a person
okay,
has to do a lot of soul searching before they can get to that point. Now, so that's why it's not like
so
it
in
is a
relative
superior
terms,
karma. Sure, it's a superior karma to be enlightened, sure. But
okay,
it doesn't improve your karma. It makes your karma worse to try to force yourself to enlightenment before you're ready. Just to be clear on that.
okay. Uh,
So
so
there is
once you're
no
enlightened,
like the ought doesn't work like that. It's not like you ought to become a yogi and a siddhi and an adept and become
well, okay,
enlightened. Like
let
that's
me ask
not
you
the
this
ought.
way.
The ought is you ought to do your proper vocation.
How about
That's the
this?
ought.
Is there any situation, monetary situation, where being not enlightened is better than being enlightened? If
Well,
you're
you'll always make more money when you're not enlightened.
okay, so even though you make more money, how about energy use?
Yeah, you'll use less energy when you're enlightened.
Okay, so not enlightened, you're highly entropic, potentially make a lot of money, and that's less than being enlightened. So enlightened,
Says
is it better?
you.
Oh, well, that's what you just said.
I said
I
you can't
said,
make a value judgment as far as what people should be doing because
oh,
the ought
okay,
is
but
not
you
there's no ought in the system that says everybody should just start doing yoga now because that would be
no, no,
improper.
yeah, right, yeah, no, I get that, but I'm saying if given a choice, and it's personal anyway, but to be enlightened, if you're interested in being enlightened, well, that's preferable than not being enlightened under any circumstances, no matter the
No, it's what I'm
monetary,
telling you.
the
It's
physical
not
cost.
under I'm telling you that's not
Oh,
true.
oh no, wait. No, I'm sorry. Once you've narrowed it down to okay, I would rather be enlightened. If you don't want to be, well, that's a different story. But if you're in that train of thought,
People can pretend they wanna be enlightened. They'll be like they can pay lip like, that's the thing, everybody's just paying lip service to these concepts. They're not actually embodying them. It's like, yeah, everybody's gonna say, "Sure, it'd be great to be enlightened." That's not the same thing as everybody intends in their soul to pursue a path of enlightenment.
right? Yeah, of course. No, I get that. But once you're enlightened, is it better to be rich or poor, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter, right?
Well, it's
So
a question that you can't fathom because you're not initiated, you're not on the path,
okay,
you're not
but we can
enlightened.
talk. Okay, but we can talk about it.
We
Well,
could
you
talk
tell
about it,
me.
but it's a hypothetical that would be situation specific.
Okay, is it better to be rich or poor in an enlightened state? And why is that a hard question?
It's a
This is
hard
what's curious to me. Why is that a hard question? Does money have any relationship to enlightenment?
no.
Okay, so this bar doesn't even count. You don't even have to look at
I mean, yet there are connections. A high karma person can manifest wealth spontaneously by
it.
wishing it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they can just make anything they can. It's called manifest destiny. They can just manifest any destiny that's
So to
entropically
be in,
available. So yeah, they could get a bunch of money if they so chose.
so to be enlightened is to be in this state here where you have mind and body, and from there you make decisions about what to do with your body, how much energy to use. So to be enlightened, you just said it's more efficient to be enlightened. What'd you say? You use less energy if you're enlightened.
Of course.
Okay.
It's
So right
more
there.
efficient. I mean, that's why it's better to be enlightened because you use less energy so it doesn't burn out your brain and or your body. Because you can
Yeah.
operate, you can perform at the same level of cognition with way less energy.
Exactly. That's why it's purple shifted, right? Because just that higher energy state is more efficient, and that goes true right down to the level of electromagnetic spectrum,
Yeah,
right?
but it's not a continuous
So,
that's
well,
what I'm
all I'm
saying,
saying
it's
is
not a
that's
it's not a continuous waveform. You've got it mapped as an as a continuous waveform. I'm trying to explain to you that it's not a continuous transition.
no, but it's like no, of course not. No, I agree there, but I'm saying that's the desired state. It's sort of like what state do you want this to be in? As a snapshot. You take a picture of yourself. Well, you either smile or you don't. People that want to portray themselves as happy, they'll smile. Goofy, they'll make faces, right? So you're taking a snapshot. It doesn't mean I'm happy all the time. There's a picture of me smiling. I haven't been like that for 25 years straight. No, that's a picture I took 25 years ago. So same thing here. enlightened is, generally speaking, a higher state of mind, more efficient thought. All these things that they are, which you're right, and I don't mean to disrespect it at all. I'm just saying that to the contrary. I'm just saying to represent it would mean to represent this is a good state of mind to be in, as opposed to someone who's not enlightened. And if you aren't even measuring money, then what are you left with? You're left with, what do you do with the energy at hand? So you take money. This is what's interesting, Jen. We're right on exactly the same ideas. This is why I'm saying
No, we're not.
Okay,
You're using
I'm
the
saying
idea as a proxy to bolster your own idea. You don't actually understand the idea.
no. What I'm saying, you don't even have to, because what we're saying is money is irrelevant. Not irrelevant. That's part of the problem. Is it's very relevant nowadays. But money not considered, it's better to be enlightened than not. If you consider money, then that's a moot issue. If you're enlightened, you don't consider money, and that's out. You got nothing left to talk about. So you don't talk about money. You talk about other things. So what do you have to do to be not enlightened to become enlightened? Well, that's a whole life path, and not
You
everyone's going to
gotta
take it.
find a master and get initiated. There's literally no other way. And the people that claim that there is are terrible people.
Okay, I think I think I agree 100% with that. Because to me that's a very personal thing. You know, it's religious,
So
if you
wait,
don't want to call it religion.
why is enlightenment occulted?
I didn't say it was occultism. I said you cannot get on a
Well,
path of enlightenment without
that's
initiation because that
literally
is what the
that
tradition
is
says.
literally the
Do not
definition
speak
of
over me
occultism.
on my own stream, please.
That's
Okay, so
literally the definition of occultism, though, is having hidden information. If you
Well,
need a
yes, all
master in order,
traditional schools have hidden knowledge because the laity can't handle it.
okay, so well, see, to me it's not that it's immaterial. It's that it doesn't help to talk about it because that's such a personal thing, and what you
What do
call
you mean a
someone who's,
personal thing?
well, I
I'm the
mean,
one with fucking objectively demonstrable knowledge here. It's not personal, it's impersonal.
no. But when I say to some people, you say he's enlightened. Well, other people laugh at that because they don't believe in that and they think it's silly, whatever. I'm not that way, because to me that's a very valid way to view the world, and a good one in a lot of ways. I don't think
wait,
there's a whole lot I can argue with.
which objectively demonstrable knowledge, or on which topic?
Quantum field theory, psychology, sociology, math, physics, chemistry.
See, you're a galaxy brain. So all this takes the whole galaxy and boils it down to time and energy, which is all there
But
is.
you can't do that. And my
Yes,
system
I did.
already has a dualism of energy and non-energy. It already
Okay,
has that built into it. It is a
I know,
tautological,
I
trivial
know.
aspect of the theory because it offers no predictions.
Okay, but what do you think if you put into a computer 1,000 people going through their day at a company? You think it couldn't predict that? Oh, if their fingers start hurting, they're going to start acting like this. Their head will be like this. Well, how do I know this? Well, because they clicked on a button that said their head was yellow. Oh, my fingers hurt. Give me a new keyboard. You know, whatever it is. You think it won't be able to predict that? You can predict that. You do that all the time. It just allows computers to think like humans. It gives them that spectrum, the wave function of thought that computers didn't have. They're digital, and it gives them a simulated wave function. How about that? Does that work? Then they
You
can
want to
trace out the.
simulate the wave function of consciousness
Well,
with a
you have to.
computer.
Well, you have to simulate it.
Well, then maybe you should make an accurate simulation, as I have, as my
This is
theory makes all the predictions and is
okay, but
perfectly intuitive and logical and
okay, but can you
complete.
teach it to? Can you do it? Can you teach it to a 5-year-old? Because this works with a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I have taught young children things that were more profound than most adults are even able to access those ideas because their imagination has become very like they becoming an adult for a lot of people is like a process of acquiring tunnel vision. The children are actually better learners in some ways. Yeah, they don't know the mathematical architecture that's required for the really strategic,
Right.
precise things. But in
Okay.
terms of imagination, yeah, it's definitely easy to get these concepts across to children more so than adults because adults have all these impediments
Yeah.
from the tunnel
Right.
vision.
Yeah. Get the neuroplasticity. They're open for learning. But this is what mine is. So now you just have 2 sliders, and when they're old enough, you bring in the 3rd slider with the money and teach them about money. So here, now let me tell you that, is this still true right here? Someone who's not enlightened, but
There's
they
just not
say they
enough
are?
information. There's not enough
Okay.
information, right? Like, you
This,
can't make it that, you
this,
can't simplify it to that level because it's more complicated than what you're
okay,
saying.
this would be someone who is, say, instead of enlightened, let's use, okay, say they're a member of a cult.
Oh
And
no, that's
they
just too broad. I mean,
okay,
even
how about,
liberalism is a cult. Communism
how
is a
about,
cult. You know, they behave indistinguishably from cults.
okay, how about this? Yes, I agree with that. How about football fan?
Oh my god. See, again, these aren't happiness. Like, going to a football game gives you temporary sense indulgence. That's not happiness. So it's like,
Okay, so you would agree that being enlightened is greater than having just won your football team won the Super Bowl?
it's the best thing ever. It's really the only thing worth doing, but
Okay,
people cannot be forced into that uh
right. That's right. If
position of
you,
belief.
and you would be a tyrant if you made people do that. Well, you label yourself the theocratic dictator, so I wouldn't put it past you.
To
But
be a tyrant,
you're the theocratic dictator. You just don't have nukes.
people are deceiving themselves. Like, I don't need to deceive people. They're deceiving themselves just fine on their own. I'm trying
Yeah.
to correct these misapprehensions and cease the flow and cancerous spread of bad ideas that
Okay. Well,
work
that's
because
exactly what
of
I'm trying to
our
do.
human superstitions and basically our ancestral uh vestigial traits.
Okay. Well, see, that's why I'm
Because
saying
they're not
that.
truly vestigial, they're just residual. So they're like, yeah, like, we used to live in trees and stuff. So there's like a, residual from that. I'm not saying the
Yeah.
fact that we used to live in trees is relevant in any considerable way to anything. I'm just saying that
Right. Just as a analogy. Yeah. But it works.
I understand, I think, what you're trying to
Okay.
do, but the point is that there's been research that has demonstrated that the mind has 11 dimensions. So it means that whatever answer we come up with has to be able to fill out 11 darn dimensions. And
Well,
your thing has at
as far as the,
most like 3 dimensions, right? So it's going to describe something, but it's going to be a far cry from describing everything. And my main issue at this stage is that you don't even know what it is that you're measuring.
well, wouldn't this be 5 dimensions right here? This is 2 dimensions, right?
How do you get
X,
5
Y,
dimensions?
X, Y, Z. No. Yeah. Wait, I've got 1, 2, 3 dimensions on this slider, right? But this could be more. You could change the shape
Well,
of that
you can't
circle.
just say it is. Identify the dimensions.
Okay, well, you've got X, Y, and then you've got a color. So that's 3
Okay,
dimensions,
but
right?
where's the XY?
Right here, left, right.
Okay, so it's within this lattice. You have an XY coordinate. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's
So
2 dimensions.
that's 2 dimensions.
Right.
And then you have the color. That's a 3rd dimension, right?
No, because it's not linearly independent of the original
Oh,
dimension.
okay. Yeah.
So
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
okay, this is an important thing for people to understand. Like, in order for something to count as another dimension, it's got to be pseudo orthogonal. Okay, so nothing is truly orthogonal. This is the sort
Okay.
of tricky part about this, like, advanced philosophy stuff. Nothing is truly orthogonal. We know that because of the periodic table, wherein there's a maximum interconnectedness of space and time, and then on our scale there's a minimum interconnectedness of space and time, but they're not truly orthogonal. They have a together progression because what's conserved is space-time events. So space and time aren't conserved is the point.
Okay, so here's
In
space and
other
here's
words,
time.
there's not
But
really any more information in this light than there
no,
would
but
be in a Cartesian plane. The light would have to take on a structure that didn't coincide with the Cartesian plane in order to be considered a true other dimension, right?
like a magnitude, right?
Like, it's
Would that
really
work?
hard to use a lot of dimensions because we have a hard time
Right.
perceiving
Yeah.
even 3
Just 3.
dimensions.
3 is hard enough, right? So here's 2D,
Yeah, but our mind
and
is
it's
generated in
intuitive.
11 dimensions, which suggests that it has information that is proportional to those 11 dimensions.
Okay,
But
but
are
not
all 11 dimensions being used at once?
Of course. Yeah, it's a waveform. It's a superposition of various frequencies, and they've been able to identify 11 frequencies or go 11 dimensions.
Nice. Okay. See,
Right. So
that's
these
beautiful.
frequencies, it's easier for frequencies
But
to
those,
be orthogonal than non-frequencies, right? And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with pulsing spheres made up of light, and that's the frequency